Welcome back to another Notebook Check Tech review. We've got the Dell XPS 15 2016 version with Skylake and the Quad HD screen. So you might have just watched the review video for the full HD version, which scored 86%. This scores 87% in our review. And what I'm going to do in this short video, I'm going to focus on the screen, the battery life, and the SSD, because those are the three main differences. The screen being a Quad HD, IPS, glossy touchscreen version there, and the SSD replaces the hard drive because there is a full-width 84 watt-hour battery inside. We'll go into that a little bit more in a little bit more detail, but this is the Dell XPS 15 Quad HD version. It retails for around €1,700. Got the Core i7 inside, 8 gigs of RAM inside. Let's have a look at some of the detailed specifications here. And what I want to do before I just talk about the specifications is to mention that there have been a lot of BIOS updates for this. This review is based on a lot of the BIOS updates that have been played out onto this device. At the beginning of the launch period, there were a few issues that have now been fixed with BIOS. So do check out the full review and see the updates that we've added based on some of the BIOS updates that have happened. So actually I mentioned 8 gigs of RAM. This has got 16 gigs of RAM inside, 2 slots. If you've seen our previous video where we took the back off, you'll see where those 2 slots are. You'll see where the SSD is. It's an NVMe, 512 gig, and you'll see that it's got a full width battery that runs all the way across the front here. So those are the main differences. The FHD one has the smaller battery and the hard drive. So let's take a quick look at the ports here. It's as per the FHD version. You've got the headset port. You've got a full USB-C port that is Rev 2, and it's got Thunderbolt inside as well. Full HDMI port and the USB 3 port. Let's spin that round, and on the other side it's the same as well. Let's just show you that. We've got power button here for the to tell you, sorry, the battery level button there. It tells you how many batteries based on 5 bars. You've got the USB 3 and the full SD card slot as well. While I've got the camera in my hand, I want to show you the keyboard here. Really happy with the keyboard personally, and in the review we gave it a good score because there's a good throw, a good feel, and a good feedback to it. Nice spacing, good mechanics, and that touchpad also very good quality as well. So just like the FHD version, a really nice chassis here, and usage area in terms of keyboard and mousepad. You'll see though, it's a little bit fingerprint, a little bit of a fingerprint magnet because of that rubberized finish there. It is carbon fiber on the fascia there, and we've got a metal on the outside. You can remove the bottom there. Right, so you want to know really about the screen. This is the main point here. We've got a 4K screen, and it's glossy IPS. It's an IGZO panel, IGZO panel, and brightness in the middle there. Well, we measured 361. Sorry, that compares to 399 that we measured on the full HD version. So nice bright screen, not quite as bright, and because it's that glossy finish, it's just probably not as suitable for outdoor use as the FHD version would be. The brightness isn't so high, the black levels aren't so low, so the contrast isn't so high as well. We've got a 950:1 contrast ratio, which is reasonable, but not as good as the figures we got on the FHD version. As with the FHD version, out of the box, the color accuracy was okay. Not brilliant, but okay. As with the FHD version, there's also the possibility to calibrate this and get a lot better accuracy. And if you look at the review, you'll see we went down from 5.34 on the color all the way down to levels of 1 on the color deltas, which is really good. There's loads more detail on the screen in the full review, including pictures of viewing angles. We've got a little bit of a measurement on reaction times, rise and fall times, and also screen flickering if you're interested on that. By the way, there is no screen flickering on this version. Now we've got the Core i7 high-end CPU. One of the unfortunate things about the XPS 15 range is you can't combine a Core i7 with an FHD matte screen. You can't combine the Core i5 with the big battery to get the, what could be the best battery life. But what they've done here is they've tuned this more for performance And what we're seeing is some really nice CPU and GPU performance figures with very little drop off in terms of throttling under load. Cinebench scores here as good as you'll get amongst the range of laptops in this class, and that score of 663 on the multi 64-bit score beats everything there except the vNitro Black, which was only 2% faster. On the single core score there, 147 points, and again beating most other devices there. In fact, everything in that list being beaten, including the Apple MacBook Pro Retina with the 4870 HQ, so a couple of generations old. Interesting though, that is actually keeping up quite close to the scores we're seeing on this this Skylake generation CPU. Let's just take a look at that CPU. First of all, the PC Mark 7 score, which includes a big weight in terms of CPU of SSD performance. 5480 is the score there, and that's beating pretty much everything except the XPS 15. 9530 previous generation, but that's a great PC Mark 7 score. And I want to flick down to the Crystal Disk Mark scores there. Over a gig, 1.274 gigs a second read speed sequential on that SSD. It's really fast SSD. 4K write speed of over 120 megabytes per second. Really good SSD there. If you're really wanting to throw big files around, and that might be important if you're doing video editing, this SSD is excellent. It's also 512 gigs inside, which gives you a good advantage. So it depends whether you want that trade-off between the terabyte and the cache and this pure SSD and the big battery. Let's take a look at the GPU 3D Mark 11 scores. 5477, excellent scores there again, really class leading, not much beating it there in those scores. And I want to flick down to some gaming scores, because we did some 4K gaming tests on this. You won't be able to do 4K gaming on it. It's definitely full HD only, and really, to be honest, full HD is quite impressive for a device of 2 kilograms with this screen quality. So you're getting over 30 frames per second on most things there, falling behind on a couple of the gaming tests there, Thief and Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Temperatures, you'll see there, maximum 46 dBA, so the fan being nice. And as I sit here, this is warming up a little bit. I've been playing around with it. The fan's just on slightly, but I can hardly hear it in the background, so a nice gentle fan noise. A little bit more on that heat then, just around the middle on the top there. Let's just put that into view. Middle on the top is where you'll get the most heat, and that is same as the FHD version. Not quite as hot as the FHD version, interestingly enough, because this is obviously the Core i7. We're getting higher performance out of this, but a 55.9 might be noticeable if you're doing long-term gaming, for example. Let's get on to those battery life figures. Now, we've got a Quad HD screen here, and Quad HD screens need more LEDs per square inch to get the same backlight levels as other screens. So a smaller resolution screen, certainly the FHD version anyway. So we're going to see probably, in fact, I know we're going to see because I've just looked at the scores. We're going to see more background drain. So look at the idle, 8 minutes 48 seconds. That was over 9 hours on the XPS 15 FHD version. Wi-Fi serving 5 hours 9 minutes for an 84 watt-hour battery. That's not a lot actually. Big Buck Bunny again, 5 hours 80 minutes again. Not a lot given an 84 watt-hour battery, and under low 2 hours 5 minutes. So it seems that background battery life for the backlight there is taking significant amount of power. On the XPS 13, when we tested the FHD and the QHD versions, we saw between 1 and 2 watts difference based depending on how bright it was. So that's a significant amount of backlight of background battery drain that you're going to have to put up with. You also got a touch layer, which also brings up some processes in the background, for example, on-screen keyboard monitoring as well. So bear in mind that if you're going to go for the Quad HD version, you've got some trade-offs in battery life there. If you just switched to this part of the review and you're just looking for the summary, I'm going to give you that to you now, but how about giving us a thumbs up? How about giving us a like? and subscribing to the channel as a little bit of a payback. And I thank you for skipping all my hard work that I did at the beginning of the video. Right then, 87% is the score here, and you'll see the breakdown there with the chassis giving a 97% score. They couldn't find much wrong with that at all. Obviously, the audio and the camera, we marked it down on that, but in general, some really good scores. So take a look at the score structure there, and if you have some needs in mind, you'll probably be able to sort of slot your needs into that score structure and get out your personal score for the XPS 15 Quad HD version. As you can see on the pros and cons, it's very much the same as the FHD version. We've got a great chassis. The screen is great. The keyboard is great. The mouse pad is great. Battery life is okay. It's not the best in battery life. Thunderbolt 3 on that USB-C port as well. Let's go to the cons. There were some bug fixes after the launch, which causes some confusion in early reviews. So do make sure you see recent reviews, you compare to recent reviews that have the BIOS updates. We've put the BIOS updates on ours. High power consumption under load, and that's because of it being a Core i7. It's tuned slightly for the high end. And of course, we've got the backlight for that Quad HD screen to take into consideration too. Check out the full review for loads more detail. There's really a lot more testing, a lot more lab testing has gone on in the background, and there's plenty of comments from our reviewer, Sebastian Jensch, on that Quad HD version there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you've got anything from this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll send you email notifications as video go up. And we'll see you on the next Notebook Check Tech Review, where we might have the Lumia 950 XL, we might have the Aspire R13, we might have the Xperia Z5 Premium. I'm looking over because I've got the boxes in the corner, and we might have the Lenovo Mix 700. All those 4 devices coming up over the next week on the Notebook Check Tech Reviews. Thanks for watching.